ಸ್ವಾಗತ ಸುಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಏನು ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. ತಾಜ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್, ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನ ಪ್ರತಿಷ್ಠಿತ ತಾಜ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಆವರಣದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಏನೋ ಸರ್, ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನ
ಬಂದಿರಾ? ಇಷ್ಟೊತ್ತನ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಕೂತಿದ್ದೆ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ದಲ್ಲಿ. ಯಾಕೆ ಭಾಳ ಲೇಟಾಗಿ ಬಂದಿರಲ್ಲ?
ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನ ತಾಜ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಅವರ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಲು ತಾಜ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ಗೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಲೈವ್ ದೃಶ್ಯಾವಳಿಗಳು. ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ವತಿಯಿಂದ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತಿರುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್, ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಕೂಡ ಇದೆ. ಹೈ, we are from media, SS News. Program started already? Okay. From SS News, SS TV. Okay. ಇದೇನಿಲ್ವಾ? ಸಂತೋಷ್. Publication? SS TV. ಸೊ ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಪ್ರೈಡ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಏನು ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ಸ್ ವತಿಯಿಂದ, ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ಸ್ ವತಿಯಿಂದ ಪ್ರೈಡ್ ಆಫ್ 2026 ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಈವೆಂಟ್, ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಹಾನರಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ 2025, ಸೊ 2025 ಸೊ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆಯ ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ನ ಒಂದು ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಛಾಪು ಮೂಡಿಸಿದಂಥ ಸಿಬ್ಬಂದಿಯಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ನೌಕರರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರನ್ನೂ ಹಾನರಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಕೆಲಸ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿದೆ ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ಸ್ ವತಿಯಿಂದ. ಟೀ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸರ್, ತೊಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಒಳಗಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ, ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ. ನನಗೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡತ್ತೆ ಸರ್ ಇದು. ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಲೈವ್ ದೃಶ್ಯಾವಳಿಗಳು. ಜಯಂತಿ ಮೂರ್ತಿ, ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಕಾಶ್ಯಕ್ ಬಾಸು, ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಅಖಿಲ್ ಬೆಲ್ಗ್ರಿಮಿ, ಸೊ ಹ್ಯುಮ್ಯಾನಿಟಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್. ಚಂದ್ರಶೇಖರ್, ಮ್ಯಾಥಮೆಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್. ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ್ ಕುಲಕರ್ಣಿ, ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಲೈಫ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲರ ಒಂದು ಸಮ್ಮುಖದಲ್ಲಿ ಸೊ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಇವತ್ತು ಹಾನರಿಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿದೆ. ಲೈವ್ ದೃಶ್ಯಾವಳಿಗಳು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ.
Demand and aggregate supply, you need to find your match. If you're applying to college, you have your preferences, the college has preferences about who they want. How do you find a match? You can get these massive mismatches. This is where there was theoretical contribution, bringing again some amount of maths to work out the matching that takes place, and then very big empirical contributions, which is where Nikhil's work primarily comes in, and I do want to talk a little bit about this. One thing that Nikhil in his presentation yesterday pointed out, that just the pure understanding of how this matching takes place does not compel you into any policy position, which is actually David Hume's dictum, that an is analysis does not push you into a should implication. That is left to the policymakers. A little bit formal description and I'll close. Nikhil Agarwal is the Paul A. Samuelson Professor of Economics at MIT. He is a leading authority on market design who has helped bring this literature into real-world applications by collecting and analyzing large data sets. This is an exceptionally challenging task, as I was trying to explain just now. that requires
ಲೈವ್
command
ದೃಶ್ಯಾವಳಿಗಳು
over
ನೋಡ್ತಾ
nearly
ಇದ್ದೀರಾ.
the entire
ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್
range of
ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್.
economics, from equilibrium analysis with strategic interactions, which is what game theory is, to state-of-the-art econometrics with hard identification problems. A highly skilled microeconomic theorist and applied econometrician, Nikhil Agarwal developed and applied innovative tools to analyze real-world allocation mechanisms such as school choice matching over there, medical residency matching, and kidney exchanges. His research connects market design, industrial organization, and econometrics, turning a once theoretical research that improves education, health, and labor market outcomes. His work has transformed this rudimentary literature into one anchored in data, providing new insights into policy making. Nikhil Agarwal did his BA in Economics and Mathematics from Brandeis University, and in 2013 he got his PhD in Economics from Harvard University. A recipient of the Sloan Research Fellowship, Agarwal's research is supported by the NIH and NSF. The jury this year consisted of Levon Barsegian, Lata Gangadharan, Ajit Mishra, Sudipta Sarangi, Tavneet Suri, and me. Two of them are here in the audience. As we converged to the name of Professor Nikhil Agarwal for this year's Infosys Prize, we were bowled over, and I'm not exaggerating, by the excellence of his work. Now, taking advantage of his youth, let me drop the professor and just say, Nikhil, what is especially heartening is that you are bringing your skills to bear on matters of great importance for human welfare, which will hopefully be a step towards a better world. Keep up the good work. My warmest congratulations.
Thank you, Professor Basu. And before I call our winner on stage, here is a video of Professor Agarwal talking about why he is drawn to researching economics and its applications. Can we have the video, please? Welcoming on stage Professor Nikhil Agarwal. May I request Mr. Mohandas Pai, trustee for this award category, and Professor Basu to join us for the presentation. And now I request Professor to present the Infosys Prize in Economics to Professor Nikhil Agarwal.
Thank you to the Infosys Foundation and the jury for this truly humbling honor. Many of the previous winners of this prize are role models who I can only aspire to emulate. The work on empirical market design recognized in this award would not be possible without many of my collaborators and students. I'd especially like to acknowledge Paolo Samedi, who's been a partner in crime from the very beginning in the very early days. Parag Pathak, who has mentored me and collaborated with me and gave me my start in this field. And then Ita Ashlagi, who initiated the program on kidney exchange design very early on. I'm also deeply grateful to many of my teachers who have inspired me. Sanjeet Basu and Linda Bui before graduate school, and Al Roth, Susan Athey, and Ariel Pecos, whose perspectives and ideas continue to guide my research to this day. Most importantly, I would not be standing here without the support of my loving friends and family, many of whom are here today. My dearest wife, Ellie, is a pillar and a moral North Star in our family. And my parents, who have always fed my sister and my curiosity and nurtured a value system in which the pursuit of knowledge is prized. Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations and thank you, Professor. Well, we all know about matchmaking internet apps. They only promise perfect results, but Professor Agarwal's algorithms actually deliver things that matter. Kidneys to patients, students to schools, no swipes required. Well, our next laureate this evening, and this is in the field of engineering and computer science, is a professor at the University of Toronto. His research is chasing the underlying algorithms that process increasingly complex data sets and interconnections. The jury chair for this category is the president of Oregon State University, Professor Jayati Murthy. She's a leader in higher education teaching, research. She's the author of over 330 technical publications, and her research interests include nanoscale heat transfer, computational fluid dynamics, and submicron thermal transport. She's an alumnus of IIT Kanpur and a member of the National Academy of Engineering, a foreign fellow of the Indian National Academy of Engineering, a fellow of the American Society of Engineers. She won the ASME Heat Transfer Memorial Award in 2016 and the ASME Kate Gleason Award in 2023. Please join me in welcoming Professor Jayati Murthy.
Infosys Prize 2025 in Engineering and Computer Science is awarded to Sushant Sachdeva, Associate Professor of Mathematical and Computational Sciences at the University of Toronto, for his deep insights into mathematical optimization and the resolution of long-standing open questions in algorithmic theory. His work has established new standards on achievable performance in computational problems affecting information flows across societal lifelines, including the internet, transportation, and communication networks. Now, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to some of the details of Professor Sushant Sachdeva's work. Now, as I said, Professor Sachdeva is an associate professor of mathematical and computer sciences at the University of Toronto, but he is also on the faculty of the Vector Institute, and he is also simultaneously working at OpenAI, which you all know. Now, he holds a BTech degree in computer science and engineering from IIT Bombay and a PhD in computer science from Princeton University. He did his postdoctoral work at Yale University. Now, Professor Sushant Sachdeva's research focuses on foundational mathematical models that undergird computational frameworks that power modern life. Now, these methods are vital to the conceptualization and design of, for example, transportation networks, communication, and electrical grids. Fundamental to these computing frameworks are algorithms that process vast amounts of data and which address complex networks and interconnections. Furthermore, as data sets and networks become larger and more complex, the underlying algorithms must scale while maintaining accuracy. Many of these problems are not new. Computer scientists and mathematicians have worked on them for decades, but the scale and complexity certainly are. It's fair to say that despite concerted effort, true breakthroughs are rare. Now, Professor Sachdeva's work marks such a breakthrough. So let me try and give you a layman's flavor of one of his most important contributions, an almost linear time algorithm for maximum flow. Now, what is maximum flow? Well, consider a transportation network, a network of roads, for example. We would like to know the maximum number of vehicles we can transport through that network at once if various legs of the road network have capacity limits. So for example, some are 4-lane highways, some are 2-lane, some are dirt roads, etc. A more general version of the problem also seeks to minimize cost. Now this is an old problem in computer science, and it has been studied since the 1950s, and many have offered solutions over the decades. Now, for example, the solution by Ford and Fulkerson offers a multi-step solution scaling as m squared, where m is the number of links in the network. Now, other approaches have lower exponents. For example, m equal to 1.5 or m equal to 1.33.
ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ
Professor
ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್
Sachdeva and his
ಸೈನ್ಸ್
team were
ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ಸ್
able to
ವತಿಯಿಂದ
devise an algorithm
ನಡೀತಿರುವಂಥ
that
ಒಂದು
scales
ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ
nearly linearly. That is, as
Infosys
you look at
Prize
bigger and bigger networks,
2025.
the algorithm's computational time scales as some multiple of m.
Infosys
So if you
Science
double
Foundation
the size of the
organizes
network, the
Infosys
computational
Prize
time approximately
2025
doubles.
program
It does not
successfully
increase
in
10 times or 1,000
Bangalore.
times or even worse, and that is really important. This algorithm has been described by colleagues as a slam dunk or as absurdly fast. You can see how such an algorithm could find wide use in transportation networks, in telecommunication networks, in internet data flows, airline scheduling, and so much more. Professor Sachdeva bridges mathematical analysis, optimization, and computational problem solving to create unified frameworks for flow problems such as bipartite matching, minimum cost flow, optimal transport, and matrix scaling. He smoothly integrates linear systems, linear programming, and network flow techniques. And to achieve this, Professor Sachdeva leverages innovations in graph approximations and sparsification techniques. In addition to his breakthroughs in the maximum flow algorithms, Professor Sachdeva has made significant contributions to graph sparsification, efficient preconditioners, and optimization methods for regression tasks, among others. Now, in machine learning, his work improves the convergence of autoencoders. He has also done highly impactful work by developing noisy quadratic models, which are theoretical proxies for large neural network training. Thus pushes the boundaries of scalable, intelligent computation. No surprise then that Professor Sachdeva has received numerous awards and fellowships, starting with an early recognition signaling high promise, the IIT Bombay President of India Gold Medal, and more recently the Google Faculty Research Award. Contributions in the field have been recognized with the Sloan Research Fellowship and the Foundations of Computer Science Best Paper Award. Our engineering and computer science jury looked at a large number of highly qualified nominees and concluded that no one was more deserving of the Infosys 2025 prize in engineering computer science than Professor Sushant Sachdeva. And so on behalf of the jury, congratulations, Sushant.
Thank you, Professor Murthy. And here's a video of Professor Sachdeva on his quest for breakthroughs in stalled research. Can we have the video, please? join me in welcoming on stage Professor Sushant Sachdeva. And may I request Mr. S.D. Shibalal, the trustee for this category, and Professor Murthy to join us for the prize presentation. And may I request Professor Randy Sheckman to present the Infosys Prize in Engineering and Computer Science to Professor Sushant Sachdeva. Let's give him a big hand, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Shivala. Thank you, Professor Murthy. Thank you, Professor Sheckman. And Professor Sachdeva, a few words, please.
Thank you. My deepest gratitude to the jury and the Infosys Science Foundation for this recognition that's really beyond my wildest dreams. I'd like to thank some of my mentors who've really influenced my path here and got me excited about this field. Professor Sundar Vishwanathan, Sanjeev Arora, Daniel Spielman, and Nishit Vishnoi, without whom I would not have gotten the initiation I needed into the field here. I'd like to thank our powerhouse of a team, my collaborators, Rasmus King, Richard Peng, Yang Liu, Li Chen, and Max Probst Gudenberg, who we worked for years together on the problem that led us here. But eventually, I'd like to dedicate this award to my biggest supporters, my wife Pushkarni, who's soldiering every day to help me help support all of us, my mother and late father, who've really gone to great lengths to help me realize my potential, and my uncle, my Chachaji, who ignited the fire of curiosity that led us here. Thank you all.
Thank you and congratulations, Professor. If your algorithms are really absurdly fast and slice through complex flow problems at that speed, I think we'll all need new thumbs as our social media feeds start to refresh faster and faster. Well, if you're wondering what our winners are receiving on stage, the Infosys Prize consists of a 22-carat gold medal weighing 55 grams, a citation, and a purse of $100,000 in each category. The winners are selected by juries consisting of eminent researchers from around the world and who are represented here by our jury chairs. And each jury evaluates the achievements of our nominees against international standards of research, placing the winners on par with the finest researchers in the world. So, congratulations. Well, in the next category, and this is for Humanities and Social Sciences, our laureate this year is Associate Professor at the University of Chicago. He's a PhD from Columbia and a member of the Harvard Society of Fellows, and was trained in classical Greek and Latin before he turned his attention to Sanskrit and other South Asian languages. And to tell you more, I'm very pleased to introduce to you the jury chair for Humanities, Professor Akhil Bilgrami, the Sidney Morgan Professor of Philosophy and the Professor for the Committee of Global Thought at Columbia. He's the author of several books and is currently writing a book on Gandhi's philosophy as well as a longer work on the nature of practical reason. He's been the chair of the Philosophy Department at Columbia, the director of the Heyman Center for the Humanities, and the director of the South Asian Institute. He held the Radha Krishnan Chair in India and has been the recipient of fellowship grants from Mellon. Akhil Bilgrami.
The Infosys Prize in the Humanities and Social Sciences is awarded to Andrew Ollett of the University of Chicago. For his outstanding work as a philologist, linguist, and intellectual historian of India. The jury that chose him consisted of Veena Das, Kalpana Kanariman, Prachi Deshpande, Nirja Jayal, David Schulman, and myself. It is a work which repudiates self-communication in the lives of the most sophisticated, cognitive, and creative creatures that we know of. Another is that language allows us to get a distance from the many habits and dispositions that we are immersed in, hold one or other of them at a distance as something to critically think about and ask reflective questions about it. In short, language gives us the possibility for self-consciously critical reasoning about our hitherto unself-conscious activity. And a third function is that language is the repository of a tradition and the wisdom of a tradition that has accumulated through the exercise of such reason of this reflective kind within the practices of a tradition. For me as a philosopher, one of the most interesting things I've learned from reading Ollitt's book is that it would be too general and too omnibus a thing to say that Prakrit was a repository of a tradition. We don't get the special character of Prakrit as a language until we see that the tradition that it primarily and pervasively carries as a language is a literary tradition. Thus, even the formal aspects of Prakrit, not to mention its elaborate role in expressing the assertions and the scope of power as it was exercised in the Satavahana kingdom of Western India and the Deccan, according to Ollitt, are thoroughly inflected and to some extent even constituted by its literary forms and features. What this means is that when it comes to Prakrit, grammar and philology, two seemingly different disciplinary pursuits, are too integrated to be seen as separate forms of knowledge in the way that might well be true of other languages. Let me conclude by saying Ollitt's current major work, which is soon to be published. It is on a topic that is at the heart of contemporary debates in theoretical linguistics and philosophy of language in the West: the nature of sentence meaning. I'm going to try to convey the issue at stake here to you by situating it in a wider question about the nature of human action. The philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein once raised a question about some actions being more basic than other actions. He gives the following example, which I adapt slightly for my purposes. Suppose I wave to a friend. Philosophers, Wittgenstein says, are prone to say that the action of my waving to a friend breaks down into a more basic action, which is the action of my moving my arm. So I wave to a friend by performing an action which is conceptually more basic, moving my arm. So one might say that a basic action is something you do, and there's nothing else you do in virtue of which you do it. Now take the sentence, the train is about to leave. Suppose I convey to you that you should hurry up by uttering that sentence. The train is about to leave. I utter it with a view to conveying to you that you should hurry up. But the meaning of the sentence, the train is about to leave, is not hurry up. The meaning of the sentence has to do with vehicles of transportation, departure times, and so on. And so the question arises then, what is the relationship between that meaning and my conveying to you that you should step up your pace? What is the conceptual mechanism that underlies the stroke of by when I say I conveyed hurry up? I say the train is about to leave. Ollitt's recent work is a masterly elaboration of how Indian philosophers expended an enormous amount of ingenuity in spelling out the details of that mechanism, registering a variety of disagreements on in detailing
Foundations for the
and providing,
Infosys
on the
Prize
way,
2025.
rigorous analyses of such technical linguistic notions as compositionality, holism, atomism, inference, entailment, implicature, and Ollett himself concludes this learned account by once again expressing his own instinct for the centrality of literature to language, by putting on center stage an idea that he distinguishes from all these other notions and which he calls literary suggestion. And in the insightful detail by which he does so, I believe, he surpasses in interpretive innovations the ideas of his own mentor, Sheldon Pollock, on the question of how to understand the way in which literature can affect the formal questions that arise in the study of language. That's quite an achievement. Congratulations, Andrew.
Thank you, Professor. That was certainly food for thought on philosophy. Well, before I call our winner on stage, here's a video of Professor Andrew Ollett reflecting on languages, on words, and cultures. Can we have the video, please?
Extraordinarily seriously. There was a civilizational project of attention to words. Then came the question that shaped my research. Why does Prakrit exist alongside Sanskrit as a literary language? What is its role? My research investigates this language
Welcoming on stage Professor Andrew Ollett. And I request Mr. Nandan Nilekani, the anchor in this category, and Professor Bilbrami to join us for the presentation. And I request Professor Sheklin to present the Infosys Prize in Humanities to Professor Andrew Ollett. Let's give them a big hand.
So, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone without whom I would not be here.
ಸೊ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಸೊ ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ತನ್ನದೇ ಆದ ಒಂದು ಛಾಪು ಮೂಡಿಸಿರುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ 2025 ಆನರಿಂಗ್ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಮಹನೀಯರಿಂದ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿದೆ. ಸೊ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಲೈವ್ ದೃಶ್ಯ. ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ರಾಜ್ಯ, ಹೊರರಾಜ್ಯ, ಅಂತಾರಾಜ್ಯ, ಸೊ ಏನು ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಲೆವೆಲಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ಸ್ನ ಕಾಪಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ತನ್ನದೇ ಆದ ಒಂದು ಛಾಪು ಮೂಡಿಸಿರುವಂಥ ಈ ಒಂದು ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ವತಿಯಿಂದ ವಿವಿಧ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಧನೆಗೈದಂಥ ಮಹನೀಯರನ್ನ ಗುರುತಿಸಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಹಾನರಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಕೆಲಸಗಳಾಗಿದೆ. 6ರಿಂದ 7 ಜನ ಮಹನೀಯರನ್ನ ಇವತ್ತು ಗುರುತಿಸಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹಾನರಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಲಾಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಲೈವ್ ದೃಶ್ಯಾವಳಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ಒಂದು ದೃಶ್ಯಾವಳಿಗಳು ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀವಿ ನಿಮಗೆ. ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ತನ್ನದೇ ಆದ ಒಂದು ಛಾಪು ಮೂಡಿಸಿ ಪ್ರತಿ ವರ್ಷದಂತೆ ಈ ವರ್ಷವೂ ಸಹ ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್, ಸೊ ಏನು ಪ್ರೈಸಸ್ಸು ಮತ್ತು ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸು, ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ತುಂಬ ಯಶಸ್ಪೂರ್ಣ ವಿಜೃಂಭಣೆ. ಸೊ this award function is successfully held in Bangalore. So many dignitaries from various parts of the states as well as country have been witnesses this program. So this program was successfully held in a Taj West End Hotel. So live ದೃಶ್ಯಾವಳಿಗಳು, ಸೊ ಲೈವ್ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಸಂತೋಷ ಅಧ್ಯ ಮಹಾರಾಜ್ ಸೈನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್. ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಲೈವಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಯವರೆಗೆ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷಿಸಿ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.